Look around you. The building you're sitting in right now has an expiration date. Not 50 years from now. Not 100. It's already decaying, molecule by molecule, the second the concrete was poured. The steel bars inside are rusting. The walls are drinking in water. Engineers know this. Governments know this. And yet, 2,000 years ago, a group of Roman builders figured out how to make concrete that doesn't just last forever, it heals itself. Structures built before Jesus was born are still standing today. Harbors pounded by salt water for 20 centuries are stronger now than the day they were poured. So here's the question nobody wants to answer. If the Romans cracked this code 2 millennia ago, why are we still building cities designed to crumble in 50 years? The maritime mystery. Let me take you back to the 1st century BC. A Roman engineer named Marcus Vitruvius Pollio is writing what will become the most influential book on architecture ever written, De Architectura. In it, he describes a material the Romans are pouring into the sea to build harbors, piers, and breakwaters. They call it opus caementicium. Roman concrete. But here's the thing that broke modern scientists' brains for centuries. When Roman concrete is exposed to seawater, the single most destructive environment for any modern building material, it doesn't break down, it gets stronger. The Portus Cosanus Pier, the harbors of Caesarea, the Pantheon's massive dome in Rome, which is still the largest unreinforced concrete dome on Earth, dedicated in 128 AD, still perfectly intact. Aqueducts built by hand 2,000 years ago, or are still delivering water to modern Rome. For decades, scientists shrugged and said the Romans just got lucky. Some volcanic ash, some lime, some seawater, a happy accident. But one researcher at MIT refused to accept that answer. His name is Admir Masick, and in 2023, he and his team finally cracked the code that had been hiding in plain sight for 2,000 years. The molecular proof. Here's what you need to understand about modern concrete. It is a dead material, static. The moment it cures, the clock starts ticking. A tiny hairline crack forms, maybe from a temperature shift, maybe from settling. Water seeps in. That water reaches the steel rebar inside. The steel rusts, expands, and cracks the concrete from the inside out. Engineers call this concrete cancer. And it's why every bridge, every parking garage, every apartment block you've ever seen has a countdown timer attached to it. Now, here's what Masick's team discovered about Roman concrete. When they examined 2,000-year-old samples from the archaeological site of Privenum, Italy, they kept noticing these strange little white chunks embedded throughout the mix. Scientists had seen them for over a century and dismissed them. They assumed the Romans were sloppy. Bad mixing, low quality control. But Masick thought, wait a minute. These Romans optimized their recipes over centuries. Why would they suddenly get lazy on the final mix? He was right to be suspicious. Those white chunks are called lime clasts, and they are the single most important ingredient in human construction history. The Romans used a technique called hot mixing. Instead of using slaked lime like we do today, they took quicklime, highly reactive calcium oxide, ground it up, mixed it dry with volcanic ash, and then added water. The reaction was explosive, heat everywhere. And that heat trapped tiny, brittle clumps of reactive lime throughout the concrete, like seeds scattered through bread. When a crack eventually forms in Roman concrete, and cracks always form, the crack travels straight toward one of those lime clasts. Water seeps in. The water dissolves the lime, creating a calcium-rich solution. And then that solution recrystallizes as calcium carbonate, filling the crack like glue. The concrete literally heals itself. Masick's team proved it. They made modern samples using the Roman hot mixing recipe. They cracked them open. They ran water through the cracks for 30 days. The cracks sealed themselves shut. Water stopped flowing. The control samples, made with modern Portland cement, water just kept pouring through. The Roman concrete isn't a building material, it's a living one, a biological-style repair system embedded in stone. The 50-year cycle. So here's where the story takes a darker turn. If we know how to build a concrete that lasts 2,000 years, why aren't we doing it? The answer is uncomfortable. The global cement industry is one of the most profitable industries on planet Earth. It's also responsible for roughly 8% of all global carbon dioxide emissions, more than the entire aviation industry combined. Now imagine, just for a second, that tomorrow we switch to Roman-style self-healing concrete. What would happen? Every city on Earth would stop needing repairs. Bridges wouldn't need replacing every 50 years. Parking garages wouldn't crumble. Apartment blocks wouldn't need to be demolished and rebuilt every 2 generations. The entire construction and repair economy, worth trillions of dollars annually, would collapse overnight. Modern Portland cement is engineered around a 50 to 100-year life cycle. That's not an accident. That's not a limitation of our technology. We went to the moon. We built microchips the size of a grain of rice. We sequenced the human genome. You're telling me we can't make concrete that lasts longer than a used car? Of course we can. We just don't. Because durability is the enemy of recurring revenue. We traded civilization-scale engineering for quarterly earnings reports. The Romans built for their grandchildren's grandchildren. We build for the next shareholder meeting. And here's the part that really stings. When Masick and his team published their findings in the journal Science Advances, the paper didn't just prove the Romans were smarter than us. It handed the modern world a gift, a recipe, a method, a working blueprint for building infrastructure that could outlast every government alive today. Did the construction industry leap on it? Did governments mandate it for new bridges and schools? Take a guess. The fracture test. I want to leave you with one final image. In Masick's lab at MIT, they set up a demonstration so simple that anyone watching it understood immediately what had been stolen from us. 2 chunks of concrete, one made with modern Portland cement. The other made with the ancient Roman hot mix recipe. Both are cracked. Both are submerged in water. 30 days pass. The modern concrete begins to degrade. Water flows freely through the crack. Internal structures start to fail. The Roman spec sample? The crack is gone. In its place, a web of fresh, white crystalline growth. Calcium carbonate. New stone, born from water and time and ancient chemistry. The concrete healed itself. One of these materials builds cities that crumble in decades. The other builds civilizations that last for millennia. We had the recipe. We've always had the recipe. Vitruvius literally wrote it down in the 1st century BC. We just stopped reading. And so here we are, in the 21st century, living in cities with expiration dates, are surrounded by rebar slowly rusting inside walls that will need to be torn down and rebuilt before your kids are old enough to inherit them. Meanwhile, the Pantheon still stands. The aqueducts still flow. The harbors still hold. So the next time someone tells you that progress is a straight line, that every generation knows more than the last, remember this. Sometimes the most advanced technology on Earth is 2,000 years old. And sometimes the people we call ancient were building things we're still not smart enough or not honest enough to replicate. The Romans didn't build to last. They built to live. And somewhere along the way, we forgot the difference.